Welcome to BMIT Talks. Today's topic is multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. And with me, I have Galea, a product manager at BMIT Technologies. And together, we will go through some topics related to hybrid cloud and multi-cloud and the value and the benefits that they bring to an organization. So, Ivan, for years, the discussion around cloud hovered around public cloud, private cloud, and eventually to hybrid cloud. But now the conversation expanded to cater for hybrid cloud, multi-cloud technologies, strategies, and the value that these technologies bring to business. Is this just more buzzwords at Tech Talk, or there is a real value that these cloud realities bring to businesses?
So, hi everyone. You pretty sure you heard about digital transformation, cloud adoption, data digitization. These are campaigns or strategies that derive from a need, a business need, to enhance business processes. So basically, hybrid cloud and multi-cloud are simply strategies that will assist organizations into adopting two or more clouds, depending on their need, as well as to benefit from the cloud benefits, such as cost optimization, performance optimization, reducing or mitigating risks, and as well as addressing compliance matters. So yeah, these strategies will help organizations adopt.
Let's go to the various scenarios which you've just mentioned step by step. So hybrid cloud, as we all know, is made up of two clouds, generally a public cloud and a private cloud, talking to each other to offer, to deliver a service or a solution to a business. Multi-cloud is a combination of one or more clouds as well. But this time it could be a combination of two or more public clouds, private cloud, as well as a hybrid cloud environment in between the two. So is my understanding correct that a hybrid cloud is just another approach to a multi-cloud strategy?
Yeah, so basically, hybrid cloud is a multi-cloud because it is two or more clouds. I think it really depends how one would interpret and how you actually use which strategy to use. So when your challenge or your need is to adopt both public and private cloud, and therefore so you're focusing on having those two primarily, then it is hybrid cloud strategy. When you have the need of having two or more public clouds and managing these public clouds, or it could even have a private cloud in the mix, etc., then it is more a multi-cloud strategy because you want to see how you're going to manage and maintain this from a single pane view or a platform.
Okay. So my next question relates to how co-location, or rather when a customer has infrastructure within a data center, whether such customer can benefit from a multi-cloud or a hybrid cloud approach to his infrastructure. My view is that private clouds are an evolution of a co-located customer. At the technology level, there is a strong commonality. One could also sometimes call them one and same thing, because the model, the difference lies in the commercial aspect of the offering rather than on the technical plane. So assuming that my understanding of equating co-location with managed services as a private cloud setup, Does this mean that the benefits enjoyed by an organization adopting a multi-cloud environment can also be enjoyed by a customer co-located within a data center?
You are correct once again, Jack. So first, one has to really understand what private cloud is. Private cloud is like any other public cloud, okay, where the infrastructure is dedicated to a single organization, okay, on a much smaller scale, because the public cloud would require a larger infrastructure to host more than
multiple businesses, millions of businesses in cases.
And it allows the organizations to have that extra level of assurance, that visibility, and that control over the physical infrastructure.
So you're saying that there is a value in having a private cloud. Obviously, we all know about the benefits of a public cloud. Top of mind comes the pay-per-use benefit. So beyond security, in case of of private cloud and the pay-per-use of public cloud, what other benefits one can look for when determining whether a public or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud approach should be considered?
Yeah, so private cloud would, it's best used, for example, when you have more static workloads. Therefore, you don't have that need for elasticity or the consumption basically of that particular workload. And as well as even for compliance, you have the data localization. Okay, so if you are required to have specific data within a single region or any particular,
for example, an EU needs to be in the EU.
Yeah, exactly. Or in Malta, exactly. Then that's where I think one of the big benefits is of a private cloud, because you have that core sensitive data running.
It's private. And public cloud?
Public cloud, first of all, it is generally available for everyone over the internet. So you have that, as you mentioned, the consumption, the hourly consumption, or there's also the reserved instances, but it gives that ability of elasticity, of scalability on demand. If you require a certain workload, you don't need to upgrade your infrastructure. You can just go purchase or start using, and then obviously you'll be built at the end of the month.
One other thing is obviously the breadth of services that you can tap into on a public cloud. You can look at infrastructure or databases or AI or a number of other product categories that generally will not be available on tap in a private cloud environment.
Yeah, they offer, public clouds nowadays tend to offer more than just compute. So you have an array of services that, such as web services, IoT, and so on, that anyone can make use of.
Obviously, we don't need to go into much detail, because it follows that a hybrid cloud is the best of both worlds of the public and private cloud environments. Can you maybe fire off some use cases for a hybrid cloud environment?
Oh, yeah. I think the first one and the most important is disaster recovery. Okay, one thing that immediately comes to mind is that you can have, for example, a private cloud. You have your production environment, your live environment on a private cloud, and then, for example, you would have a replica over some workloads which are really important to you in case of any disaster. You would have those workloads readily available, although maybe switched off to save on consumption. They will be on a public cloud. So if a disaster would happen, then you would automatically or manually switch to this public cloud, reducing the RTO drastically. And this is where we can leverage BMIT technologies. For example, Veeam technology. We also offer the native Microsoft Azure Site Recovery as well. And even we have VMware, virtual data center. And you can even use orchestration tools to automatically switch to such recovery sites.
The main message that I got for what you said is that by adopting a hybrid approach to the cloud, you can address the need for resources, the need for applications or tools to be able to do things, as well as address the compliance obligations that might be imposed on you as a business if you operate in a regulated or a quasi-regulated environment, by putting some things on the private and some things on the public cloud. Which leads me to, and you've mentioned BMIT's role into all this. At BMIT Technologies, we have invested into cloud technologies that allow an organization to adopt a hybrid cloud strategy in order to address, for example, the compliance and regulation obligations. What comes to mind is, for example, the Azure Stack Hub deployment within our data centers in Malta that provides access to Azure services, but with data in a local environment. Is this a case of a best of both worlds?
Again, yeah, I mean, when you're adopting both private cloud and the public cloud, you're getting the benefits of both. You mentioned Azure Stack Hub. Azure Stack Hub is a subset of services, like you rightly said and pointed out. There is, for example, compute, databases, events, IoT, and web services, for example. And this can be used, to give another use case, can be used, for example, having a development environment on the Azure Stack Hub, and then, for example, push that development onto the public cloud using Azure services, or, for example, pushing certain workloads. You have the workloads on the Azure Stack Hub, and then pushing those workloads closer to your end users using the public cloud, targeting different regions, if it's America, globally, basically.
Let me deviate slightly, and then we start wrapping up. My understanding is that when you adopt a multi-cloud strategy, you avoid the risk of having vendor lock-in, or rather that you depend on a single technology provider for all your cloud requirements. So with a multi-cloud strategy, you avoid that lock-in. Another benefit is that you can choose the best solution or the best offering or what makes most sense to you as a business from different cloud vendors. So for me, the business value at a very high level is quite clear why you should go for a multi-cloud approach. But isn't this a technological nightmare to design, deploy, and maybe more heavily manage such a multi-cloud environment?
And that's why we have the multi-cloud strategy, all right? It allows, or it assists organization into adopting such a strategy, into adopting such multiple clouds, all right? Now, if you look at, if you maintain multiple clouds, or let's say I would have AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and many others, okay? I would say that I have multiple clouds. Doesn't mean that I have a multi-cloud strategy. Doesn't mean that I'm following the multi-cloud solution. It's just I'm running multiple clouds, which can be, like you said, a nightmare to maintain. You know, you have to think about policies that you need to
put in place
across all these cloud platforms. And that is where a single pane view or a platform such as the Azure Arc comes in for IT administrators to actually manage and maintain different workloads on different clouds. One very quick use case is where we have actually a challenge that organizations are facing where their developers are, for example, skilled on a specific cloud platform and not the other. And in order for them not to lose the chance of recruitment of such resources, we know that resources are scarce nowadays, they actually adopt a multi-cloud strategy and then having the IT administrators to push the policies in place and so on, and manage these cloud infrastructures under a single pane view.
All right, Little, one of the last questions. So let's say I run an online business, a very time sensitive online business, so no latencies ideally, or lower latencies. And I am using multiple clouds. And to connect to these clouds, to interconnect these clouds, I use normal internet. Isn't there the risk that there would be performance issues? And if so, what solutions exist?
BMIT technologies offer low latency and high performance connectivity between public clouds, okay, between clouds. And we call this MultiCloud Connect. Basically, from your private cloud within our data center, we can provide you with a direct link to your preferred or even more than one cloud provider, for example, Microsoft Azure Data Center. And this obviously will lower the latency.
In addition to Microsoft Azure and the data center, can you mention other global cloud providers that can be interconnected using the MultiCloud Connect?
We offer over 20 connections to the public cloud providers. For example, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Salesforce, Alibaba, and many others.
So you cover all basically the relevant global cloud providers and enable interconnectivity between them as well to the private cloud setup that the customer might have in a data center.
Correct.
All right. Okay. In conclusion, and without making it sound too much of a sales speech, it is clear, it is evident that in order to embark on a journey which sees a business, an organization, go beyond basic cloud consumption, it is obvious that one needs to have a proper planning, good implementation, excellent management of the tech platforms, infrastructure, and services, and the ability to maintain these around the clock. And my view is that an organization would be better off if they contract organizations such as us, such as BMIT Technologies, to help them along the way to design, build, deploy, and maintain such infrastructures. I mean, our experience, many years experience, a very good team of technical experts. I'm sure you agree with me that life could be simpler if you tap into such resources. Obviously, this is where the value of a managed services provider comes into play.
Indeed. I mean, organizations are more and more shifting their IT responsibilities onto managed service providers. Why? Because if they adopt, for example, a multi-cloud strategy, if they're adopting multiple clouds, then they need to have skilled resources across these cloud platforms. And BMIT Technologies is already have those skilled resources in place, and they can tap into those skills even just for advisory. You know, we have our pre-sales, for example, from pre-sales stage up to the end user support. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, Ivan, thank you very much for your time. In conclusion, as we have already said, if you're considering a cloud strategy for your business, reach out to us and we will gladly help in every stage of such implementation. And there is no too big or too small a task. Every organization, every business has its own needs, and we will gladly assist and help and tap into our expertise to make it a cost-effective and as smooth as possible transition into the cloud. Thank you.